Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome to the Goal Line Hockey Podcast, lucky number 13. It's your boy Kevin Forte. Have a lot of things to get into. The first week of the NHL season is officially complete. We're going to be taking a look at some of the games so far, what the teams look like, as well as answering your guys' questions from the YouTube comment section down below. So we'll be taking a look at all of that today. So the key things we're going to look at today. The Pittsburgh Penguins, Tristan Jarry, already seems like he has lost the starting role in Pittsburgh, as Casey DeSmith has started the past 2 consecutive games for the Penguins. Mike Sullivan said it's more about Tristan Jarry just needing a reset. So we'll be taking a look at that. Semyon Varlamov has started the New York Islanders season. His first 2 games this season has 2 consecutive shutouts, breaking the former holder of that record, Rick DiPietro. 2 full games for Semyon Varlamov, getting shutouts for the New York Islanders. Shout out there. As well as the latest on the Keith Yandle situation. There was a lot more involved. We'll be taking a look at that, as well as the issues around PierreLuc Dubois, as he is officially back on the rumor train, and we'll be taking a look at that. So we're gonna answer all of that stuff right now. So we're gonna start things off going back to the Tristan Jarry situation in Pittsburgh. Tristan Jarry was coming into this season the starter for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Mike Sullivan liked what he did in training camp, and he was given the nod as the starter going into the 2021 NHL season for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Since then, things have changed, as he didn't look great in those first 2 games against Philly. And since then, it's been Casey DeSmith. So brings up the question, have they already lost that hope in Tristan Jarry early? I think not. I think he's going to get another opportunity. Casey DeSmith is still a young goaltender. He is not going to take that job from Tristan Jarry that quickly. But it is something to keep an eye on in Pittsburgh. Obviously, they traded Matt Murray to the Ottawa Senators in the offseason, which made things more interesting. But we'll see the latest, what happens there with Tristan Jarry up in Pitt. Moving on, like we said, Semyon Varlamov, an unbelievable start to his NHL season. He has done really well with the Islanders. Even last season, he kind of took away the starting role from Thomas Greiss as the New York Islanders 1A goaltender. And Semyon Varlamov, my goodness, he has been unbelievable with the New York Islanders. Can't say the same right now for Ilya Sorokin, the Islanders' young netminder that they picked up from the Red Army team in the KHL. But while he gets going, Semyon Varlamov has been the guy for the Islanders, putting up two shutouts in his first 2 games this season. It looked like he got shaken up in that second game against the Rangers. Did not start that game. We may have even seen a different result in that game if it had not been for that injury. But Semyon Varlamov, what a start for Varly. Just want to give him the shout out. The Boston Bruins, guys, what's up with the Boston Bruins? You know, going into this season, they lost Torrey Krug and Zdeno Chara. And some people were saying they're not that big of a loss. I beg to differ, and I think most of the Bruins fans are starting to see the inexperience from guys like Jakub Zboril, and we haven't even seen Jarmo Kekalainen in the lineup yet, but Zboril and Lazois, they are still very young defensemen, and unfortunately, we're seeing some of the mistakes that they're making. The minutes, the games lost from Chara and Krug is pretty detrimental, especially to that left side, and not to mention, up to this point, when I'm making this podcast, the Boston Bruins have yet to score a goal during, on a 5-on-5 situation. Whether it's not they've scored a shorthanded goal, they've scored power play goals, but they have not scored 5-on-5 yet. So that's something to keep an eye on with the Bruins. Might be an underlying issue, I don't know, but there's definitely something going on with the Boston Bruins. And speaking of the Boston Bruins, a former Boston native, Keith Yandle, playing with the Florida Panthers this season. There was a little bit more to the Keith Yandle situation that we have started to get some clarity the past couple of days. So apparently, there was a 3-way trade between the Boston Bruins, the Florida Panthers, and the New York Islanders, apparently in on Keith Yandle. Now, I'd love to know the specifications for where this trade would have gone, what would have been involved, because we know that the Florida Panthers in this deal would probably like a defenseman back, a roster defenseman. So you start looking at the Islanders, maybe like a Thomas Hickey. I don't know. Then you've got Keith Yandle probably going to the Boston Bruins. Now, what would the Boston Bruins give that could potentially go to the Islanders? That's interesting, right? So I'd love to know more about the details, but apparently the ownership was pushing general manager Bill Zito, Florida Panthers general manager, to trade Keith Yandle, as Keith Yandle had originally blocked a trade to go to the Boston Bruins in this deal. So the Florida Panthers were kind of threatening Yandle. You know, they were giving him punishment, and they said, "Listen, we're going to break your Iron Man streak, and we're going to punish you for not waiving your no move clause to get rid of you." And obviously now there's probably a little bit of a disparity between the organization and Keith Yandle right now. So that's definitely disappointing to see. But at the end of the day, Keith Yandle, they signed that no move clause. It's not really his fault. He doesn't want to move. And especially if it's Boston, kind of interesting. But I guess he likes it down in Florida, and that's where he wants to be. So interesting to see that. So yes, apparently there was a 3-way trade, which I'd love to know the details of that, but that's definitely interesting. Now, speaking of other rumors around the league, PierreLuc Dubois has apparently been drawing interest from everybody in the NHL. According to Elliot Friedman the other day, there are some sneaky contenders in there, specifically the Colorado Avalanche and the Tampa Bay Lightning. How can that be? It's unbelievable. Now, the crazy thing is, I think Tampa Bay is a little bit more of a long shot, especially with their salary cap situation, and they don't really have that many talented prospects. Maybe let me know which prospects, like Dennis Yan, they may have traded him already. Taylor Radish, those aren't the top tier prospects. Now, if you go to Colorado, on the other hand, A, they have salary cap space. B, they just made a trade earlier this week, which we do have to mention. Ian Cole was sent to the Minnesota Wild for Greg Pateryn. It's a $2 million saved for the Colorado Avalanche. So why would they move Ian Cole out? Well, there's two things. One you could look at, which is more simple, is that they want Bowen Byram playing more minutes, which means Ian Cole becomes more expendable. That's a good point. And then you also have the consideration that they're moving, yes, so they're going to make more room for Bowen Byram in the roster, but also they free up $2 million in cap space, which is probably the bigger part of this trade for the Colorado Avalanche. Now, why would they want to move out $2 million of cap space? PierreLuc Dubois is on the trade block, and they have an unbelievable amount of prospects that may just draw the interest of the Columbus Blue Jackets. I'm talking about a defenseman like Brett Helleson, potentially even a Bowen Byram. You have a Alex Newhook, who they just picked up in the first round in this year's draft. Isn't that interesting, right? So, again, something to keep an eye on. The Columbus Blue Jackets are one of those teams that, obviously, with this whole Dubois situation, now Colorado and Joe Sakic have been in the rumor mill for PierreLuc Dubois. Just think about that center group. You've got Nathan McKinnon, Nazem Kadri, Tyson Yost, PierreLuc Dubois. Are you kidding me? That is unbelievably good. So we'll see what happens. Again, over the next year, I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about this Dubois situation. The Blue Jackets got him signed. He's playing with the team right now. Until Dubois decides, I'm not playing right now, I want to get traded. I gave my fair share. Listen, you guys haven't moved me, and I want to move. I'm not comfortable here in Columbus. Move me now. That's when we'll see things start to pick up. So we'll see what happens. But again, this PierreLuc Dubois situation isn't going away. And the Florida Panthers have had their own issues, actually, with their situation. Somebody commented something. Apologize for that. They've had their own issues with potentially a Barkov trade. So we've been hearing about Barkov. We've been hearing about Yandle. So is there a fit where Dubois could potentially go to Florida? I don't know. So these are the sort of things that, again, they're just concepts. We're just looking at it. Just because a GM is calling on a player like PierreLuc Dubois, they're just looking to see, hey, if we want Dubois, what's the price tag? And at that point, it's just discussions. Doesn't mean they're actually doing anything besides that, but they're at least looking at it. And they're really doing their due diligence as a GM by looking into it. So, just something to keep in mind. All right. So I want to talk about the Vegas Golden Knights gold jersey. Last week we talked about the unis for the Colorado Avalanche. Vegas's gold jerseys are unreal. These jerseys look so good on the ice. I was watching a game last night. I almost bought a Vegas gold jersey last night. That is just how good it looked. The advertisement of it was unreal. This jersey is, honestly, it's probably the best third jersey in the NHL right now. That is saying something. That is how clean this jersey is. So giving a lot of credit here to the Vegas Golden Knights, because that jersey is just unfreaking real. All right. So, we have a little bit of news. It's just a little after noon, a little after 12 o'clock Eastern. And we got some news on the Philadelphia Flyers. Not good news. So, injury updates for the Flyers. Morgan Frost is out indefinitely, and Philippe Myers is week to week. Wow. So, Morgan Frost is out indefinitely with a dislocated left shoulder, and Philippe Myers is week to week with a fractured rib. Wow. So, bad news out of Philly. Let's take a look at some other thing. What else we got here? And that's just breaking news at this point. Now, I do want to mention as well, two teams that I really want to look at that I'm very disappointed with to start this season. And they are the Arizona Coyotes and the Vancouver Canucks. And they are both struggling. The Arizona Coyotes look outclassed by the Vegas Golden Knights last night. And they play them again here tonight and tomorrow night, I think, or this weekend. They play them 3 times in 4 days. This could be murder here for the Arizona Coyotes. I am very concerned about Arizona right now. Vegas is going to be playing them a lot, and Vegas is sort of dominating that West division. And they're already 4-0. I expect they're going to go 5-0, beating the Coyotes tonight. But the Coyotes, they do not have any goal scoring. And Darcy Kemper has not looked great to start the season. I'm wearing the Yotes jersey because this jersey looks very nice. But there are some concerns right now in Arizona. And the other team, the Vancouver Canucks. Guys, finally, we need to see Elias Pettersson get things going. And I just want to check to make sure. Because from what I've seen, I do not think he has scored a goal yet. Let's take a look. Let me just make sure. Let's see. Besser has been on fire, though. I'll give him credit for that. Yeah, Besser got a hat trick. But at the end of the day, Elias Pettersson still does not have a point for the Vancouver Canucks. Brock Besser leads the team in goals with 4 goals, and he's tied with Quinn Hughes for most points on the team with 5. So, I don't see Elias Pettersson anywhere. So, that has got to change. Braden Holtby has looked like a downgrade compared to Jacob Markstrom, so that's tough news for the Vancouver Canucks as well. And losing guys like Chris Tanev, you could see how they looked against Montreal, and they're probably going to look against Montreal tonight. There are some concerns for Vancouver. Now, Vancouver did get the win against Montreal, but I'd be very concerned tonight. Honestly, if I am not a betting man, but I am betting hard on Montreal winning this game because overall, Montreal looked like the better team. And if it weren't for a shootout, you're going to give the win to Vancouver. So I think Montreal will win tonight, not only because they lost last night, but they looked like the better team for a majority of that game. Had it not been for Brock Besser, I don't even know if Vancouver is in that game. That may have been even a blowout. So, something to keep an eye on there as well. Definitely some concerns in Vancouver and Arizona. And you're going to see that in my power rankings. Quick plug. Every Friday night at 6 p.m., we do a weekly power rankings. So, I did want to mention that. And some other really sad news. Unfortunately, we will not have our live stream this week. I did want to mention that. No live stream tonight, Thursday at 9:30 p.m. for the second matchup between Montreal and Vancouver. I was really looking forward to doing that. But we've got some issues. The MacBook Pro is broken. Broken screen. Can't see shit out of it. So we will have to wait potentially a month until that gets fixed. I didn't even bring it in yet. I'm having some problems getting into Apple support. So sounds about right. So that's just kind of how it is. So unfortunately, we do have to wait a little bit for the live streams, which also means Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. We will not have the live stream between Florida and Carolina. And with the way things are looking in Carolina right now, we may not see we may see that game get canceled anyway. So tough situation there. All right, so let's answer some of your guys' questions. Actually, hold on. Before I do that, all right, so we just have bad news, right? About the situation with the live stream. So that's the bad news. Now, the good news is, guys, as we are getting close to 1K, I have some 1K news. I'm not going to reveal what it looks like. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm going to build up some hype before I do that for you guys. But as we are at 856 subscribers, which means we are less than 150 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers, which is a huge milestone. And guys, this channel is almost 2 years old, and we are about to hit 1K. It's been a long journey. It's been a long road, and I just have to give you guys a quick thank you for that. We are about to hit 1K. I know we're going to hit 1K, and it's only a matter of time at this point. Now, I need 1 or 2 more videos to really blow up over the next 2 months. We will absolutely get there. 92 plus subscribers over the past 4 weeks. So thank you all to the new subscribers, and welcome to the YouTube channel. But speaking of that 1K, I'm working on it right now. I'm trying to figure out the details, but I'm making a website. Why am I making a website? I'm going to make a website for a couple things. I'm going to start a Reddit. That's another thing. For 1K, we're going to be doing things a little bit different. So we're going to be working more on the Instagram at 1K, or leading up to that. That's one thing. 2, we're going to be making a Reddit forum. So we're going to be talking about the latest rumors, news around the NHL, updates, starting goaltenders for the night, starting rosters. We're going to do all of that stuff so you get the latest NHL news, not only from me, but from other sources around the league, including you guys. So we'll be doing that, making a Reddit. So if you're interested in that, we'll be setting that up hopefully over the next couple of days, couple of weeks. It's a little bit busy right now, but that will be happening. So we're going to be continuing the Instagram. We're going to be launching a Reddit, and we are also going to be making merch. Now, I'm going to be making a beanie. I have it set up, and I have it. It looks amazing. So I've sent out the information. I've mocked it up. It took me a couple of minutes. It really wasn't that hard for me to figure out what I wanted it to look like, because I had an idea what I wanted. It's going to have the goal line hockey emblem. We'll also have a little bit of a special piece to it as well. So when I get it brought to me, I will show you guys, and I'll do spoilers, and I'll build up the hype for this, because this is the first merch that we are going to be doing here at Goal Line Hockey. So I'm very excited for that. It's going to be something I could wear in the videos all the time for you guys. So I'm really excited. We are very close to that. So I got to get the website set up, which isn't the most fun, as well as getting the Reddit and the Instagram stuff going as well. So that's the good news, guys. We are going to have our first piece of merch. So I'm very excited for that at 1K. All right, so with that out of the way, guys, we're going to end this on a high note. We're going to take a look at your guys' questions. We're 20 minutes into the video. I know you guys like the shorter podcast. I'll probably do what I did last week with breaking up the video. So if you guys want to see just specific parts of the podcast, I will be doing that once again this week. Now, we have a very recent comment, as I just released the reverse retro jersey unboxing video, and Donald Weaver says, you actually got a Ducks reverse retro. That jersey is a love it or hate it jersey, like the Lightning reverse. The Coyotes reverse retro is one of the best ones. I agree with that. The Sabres retro is all right. Where did you get your reverse retro jerseys from, and what size are your Adidas jerseys? I do have 3 reverse retros of the 3 local teams in the New York area where I'm from. Oh, that's awesome, because so am I. I'm from Long Island, so nice to hear that, Donald Weaver. Of the 3 local teams where I'm from, of the Islanders, Rangers, and Devils. Wow, so you have all 3. Very cool, very cool. And they're all pretty clean-looking jerseys. Got the Islanders reverse retro from Adidas website. Meanwhile, the Rangers and Devils reverse retros were from Sports K. Those are good websites. I did get I got the Mighty Wing jersey the Tampa Bay Lightning. I got those two from the Adidas on the release day. The Coyotes jersey, this one I'm wearing right now, I got that from eBay. If you look on eBay, you put in NHL Adidas Reverse Retro Jerseys. I probably shouldn't be doing this because now you guys are going to be taking away from my jerseys that I have in my cart right now that unfortunately you guys are going to be taking from me. So that's the other place. And Sports K is also a very good place as well. So if you guys want me to do a video, I may do a video about where I get my jerseys from, just so you guys get an idea of where I'm at with that. Guys, I'm also on the shorter size, and I have big shoulders, so that helps me out. But I am a size 46, so I wear the small jerseys. I wear a size 50 as well as a 52, which is a large. So I wear a small, medium, or a large, depending on what it is. I'll wear a small with a sweatshirt on, a medium with a sweatshirt on, a large with a sweatshirt on. They all fit the same. Ideally, I get size 50 Adidas. That is my ideal size, but I will pick up a size 46 as well. If there's only a size 52, I'll pick that up as well, but that's as far as I'll go. Between size 46 to 52. 3 different sizes that I wear. Sometimes those jerseys are easier to find than others, so that's a big part of it as well. But I appreciate the comment, Donald Weaver, and a local here from New York, so nice to see that. Julia Kramer, the name is trash. Trashing on the Seattle Kraken name. Okay, interesting. Higher commented on if I think Ovechkin will break Gretzky's record. Higher says he'll beat it easy. Will just play till he's 45 if he needs to. Now, I don't know about that because we've been hearing that he does want to go back to Russia. Will he go back to Russia? That's a whole other argument, but that is something to keep an eye on. But I agree. I think he will break the record. I don't know if it's going to take till he's 45, but who knows, right? So I appreciate the comment. Higher. Leonardo Kula. On the Colorado Avalanche new unis release, he said, I was on the fence at first, but I'm starting to love it. I loved it at first sight, but I think it's a clean look. I think it's something different. Again, it reminds me a lot of what the Nashville Predators did with their uniforms, making it match the shoulders. I think it just works better. And to be honest, there's no black on the jersey, so why do you have black? That's just because of the old uniform that they had, so I do like that change. Preview of 2021 AHL season video that I did. It's basically talking about the AHL news, the teams that will not be playing in the AHL, the new division realignments in the AHL, as well as the new AHL affiliations. We also talk about the Henderson Silver Knights, the newest affiliate of the AHL, which will be the Vegas Golden Knights AHL team. There's obviously a lot of complications this season. I think the Chicago Wolves are the Nashville Predators and the Carolina Hurricanes AHL affiliate. So there's just a lot of stuff going on with that. So if you want to learn about the AHL, the new affiliations, the division realignment in the AHL, you could check that out. Just posted that, I believe, yesterday or 2 days ago. So make sure to check that out. So Logan Detweiler says, can't wait for Cleveland hockey to be back. That is pretty exciting. The Cleveland Monsters are I believe, the Blue Jackets affiliate. So very good news to see them back in the fold. So this is an old video. I talked about Sean Couturier winning the Selke Trophy. I believe that was like a year ago. And Leon said, underrated in the league, loved in Philly, no doubt. Sean Couturier is a very good player. We've seen him really start the season off pretty well also. I really like Sean Couturier. I hate the Philadelphia Flyers, but you got to love some of the players on that team. They are playing very well right now. Travis Konechny, one of the leaders in the NHL for points right now, so give some credit there. Colorado Avalanche defense roster changes video I did. Talk about Eric Johnson and Bowen Byram coming in. We may see some more things out of Colorado. Come to realize we're hearing about this Dubois situation. Salty Wings and Avs fan. Nice to see you again. I've heard your comments before. Bowen is gonna play. Let's go. So there you go. So that I made a video talking about the next Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup, and Avery Barrington Maggi says, not Toronto, that's for sure. Ottawa will prove the haters wrong. I see he's got the Ottawa 67s logo, so he's an Ottawa fan. Uh, Talking about the best defense in the AHL and the NHL, I talked about the Avalanche potentially having that best blue line in the league. And Kyle Denauer says, well said. I don't think one can say they are the best defense quite yet. Give it one more, and it will be hard to argue against that, though. I agree. I think, again, we're seeing, especially in the first game against St. Louis, they seem to have some issues with just, who's going into the corners to get the puck, or just some miscommunications. They don't have a lot of chemistry with each other. Again, a lot of new guys. Connor Timmins is a rookie. Bowen Byram is a rookie. Eric Johnson is just coming off of, a COVID situation. Devin Tays, who they acquired from the New York Islanders, he's new on the top pair. So none of these pairs are the same as last year. So this is to be expected from the Avs. They did get lowered in my power rankings, but they are going to look like a good team as the season goes along. They have a really good roster. Just a matter of gelling together and building up that chemistry, building up the system. And they are one of those teams that I think really got hurt by not having a preseason as well. Nick M. on the PierreLuc Dubois trade rumors update video. Nick M. says, I'm not a Jackets fan, but I imagine it's got to be pretty concerning that they can't keep their top players. Bobrovsky wanted out, Panarin left, Duchesne left, and now Dubois wants out. Could be the city. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Torts was a factor too. I like Torts, but I can see how playing for him could be difficult for some. Okay, so I want to talk about this a little bit. So what we've been hearing about this Dubois situation and all these guys that have been leaving, the problem is there are different factors that go behind the scenes that you may not notice. One is it's not New York City. So I know some of you have been saying Columbus is a beautiful city. I've never been there. I do want to visit there. So obviously there is some appeal to Columbus, but it's more of a college town, a higher end college town, not necessarily a city like New York, like Orlando, like Los Angeles. It's not that same vibe. Now, there are plenty of teams that are not in a big city that do well, right? So that's not the only factor, though. Now we're talking about a general manager in Jarmo Kekalainen that likes to be a little bit tough with his negotiations. So now that's another factor. But again, we've seen other teams overcome this as well. Perfect example, Lou Lamoriello of the New York Islanders. Very stingy with his, in a good way. He's tough on contracts. He's going to give you your fair value. But there's other areas where the Islanders make up for that, right? That because at the end of the day, and this is what I'm getting to. Okay, so now it's not the best city. Okay, that's fine. You can live with that. That's one factor. Not great. Okay, now you've got a general manager who's a little bit of a stickler in terms of money. All right, that's another factor. And then the third factor is the head coach, which is a very polarizing figure in John Tortorella, who for most of his career has been known to be an issue. Now, I think going back, and I don't know this for a fact, but the New York Rangers actually got rid of John Tortorella because of his issues with the players. Look at Ryan Callahan got traded out of New York. He got sent to sent to Tampa Bay. Supposedly a part of that was because he didn't want to play for John Tortorella. Again, we're seeing this come up over and over again with Tortorella. So now you've got, okay, so it's Columbus, all right? So it's a decent city, all right, whatever. That's one okay factor. You got a general manager that's a little bit of a stickler with money. And now you have also a head coach in John Tortorella who is difficult to deal with. So now you have all three of those factors, right? Now you can argue that the New York Islanders, okay, so they've got the big city. They do have New York City. Let's be honest with that. They have a little bit of a stickler GM. Okay, whatever. That's part of it. And number three, you have a really good head coach. So you have one factor, which is Lou Lamoriello. Now, you know what makes up for that one? And maybe you could even argue that Barry Trotz's defensive-minded system isn't the most fun, as some people have said. But you know what makes up for those two bad factors? Going to the Eastern Conference Final. Going to the Stanley Cup Final. Potentially even winning a Stanley Cup. You know what would fix Columbus's issue? It doesn't matter if you have an annoying head coach. It doesn't matter if you have a stickler GM. It doesn't matter where you play. If you go to the Eastern Conference Finals or you win, all those factors get erased. And unfortunately in Columbus, they had a decent run. They beat Tampa Bay a couple years back. Big deal. Okay, that was great. But then they got stomped in the next round. The New York Islanders, believe it or not, since John Tavares has left, dare I even say his name, the last 3 years, the Islanders have won at least one playoff round every year. They beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first year. They swept the Pittsburgh Penguins in that first year without John Tavares. Year number 2, they did pretty well. So why are we not, like, again, they go to the Eastern Conference Final. Like, that's no joke. So if Columbus had that same success, maybe they're able to overcome at least some of those factors. But the reason they can't do that is because they're not winning. Winning solves everything. Winning solves, if you've got a situation in the locker room, if you have players fighting, winning solves everything. Look at even St. Louis a couple years back. There was some, I believe it was like Robert Bortuzzo and somebody else. They were, or Zach Sanford, whatever, they were fighting during the practice in the beginning of the season. Jordan Binnington comes in, they start winning, and their best friends hug each other at the end of the season. You know what fixed that? Winning the Stanley Cup. So Columbus, they're not going to like the little bit of hate because it's jabs at the city, it's jabs at the coach, it's jabs at the management. At the end of the day, if you're winning, it doesn't really matter. But the problem is, those headaches become more of an annoyance when you're not winning. So, just something to keep in mind. Again, I think they've got some talent. I think there's a lot of opportunity there, but the issues are definitely there for Columbus. So, that's my little bit of a rant. Now we've got some more comments. So, appreciate that comment from Nick M. I believe in something. Yes, that's the account name. Says, if they touch Suzuki, I switch favorite team. Okay, very well said. Joe Gladjoe says, Habs ain't trading their young studs for Dubois. I agree. I honestly agree. But again, we're hearing the rumors out there. And again, Mark Bergevin in the past has made some interesting moves. He's a bit of a general manager that likes to make the crazy move, especially a Quebec native in Dubois. He's got to be all over that. So again, when there's smoke, there's usually fire. Doesn't mean there's going to be a trade, but it doesn't mean that they're not at least talking to each other. So just keep that in mind. Eric Baker on another Dubois video said the Habs would be fools to trade Suzuki. Better off trading Kasperi. Better off trading, who's KK? Montreal? Kokaniemi maybe? Or Duno, but Suzuki and Romanov are untouchable. Okay, so let me know who KK is on Montreal. I don't know who that is. Are you talking about Kokaniemi? I'm not sure. But I appreciate the comment, Eric Baker. V for Vegan. That's another interesting name. You guys got some weird ones. Suzuki is not going anywhere. Dano, Caulfield, and a first or second should be more than enough. Or KK. Again, we're hearing KK. Who the frick is KK? Byron and a first. It's got to be Kokaniemi, right? Am I like going nuts? Who's KK on Montreal? I'm pretty sure it's Jesperi Kokaniemi. Oh my God, another Dubois for KK. Who's KK? Hold on a sec. I gotta look. This is driving me nuts. You guys keep saying KK. Who the frick is KK? What the KK? The Montreal Canadiens. It's got to be Kokaniemi. It's got to be Jesperi Kokaniemi. Okay, so Ryan Coop says Dubois for KK and a first would be fair. If I was Bergevin, I would not even consider Suzuki or Romanov. Now, the problem is, if you're Columbus, do you consider a trade without potentially a guy like Suzuki or Romanov? Now, I think Suzuki is going to be the main piece of the trade if it gets done. If Suzuki is off the table, this deal doesn't get done. Honestly, I don't disagree. Now, the problem is Marc Bergevin sees his team in a window right now. And Suzuki isn't necessary. Now, you could argue he's ready right now, but PierreLuc Dubois, he looks pretty right now up there. And he's a Quebec native. And, the problem is Shea Weber and Carey Price are getting older. Once they leave, the window closes for the Montreal Canadiens. So that's why Montreal is in on this. It's not because they're actually looking to make that trade. It's because, well, maybe they are looking to make that trade, but it's a win-now situation. Like, you even look at Carolina. Like, why haven't they picked up Patrick Laine yet? If they pick up Patrick Laine, they have to win the Cup this year or next year. There's no way around that because they're going to have to move out some guys when they have to re-sign Patrick Laine because you can't trade the assets like Martin Necas or Jake Bean or Brett Pesce and not also get him back. Like, he has to return. If not, what's even the point of making that trade? It's a win-now trade. Obviously, Carolina isn't in a win-now spot right now. Austin Corbell says, PierreLuc Dubois, LOL. Yeah, he's making fun of the way I say Dubois. Hyperfox says, attaboy. Yes, sir. And then somebody else, Bernie Haneo, says, best name in the NHL. And then somebody else says, Bud the Spud. Again, you guys come up with the weirdest freaking names. I'm shocked. Really interesting, though. There's no way Bergevin trades Suzuki or Romanov. Not in a million years. Maybe KK. I wouldn't. I still don't know. It's got to be Jesperi Kotkaniemi, right? And it's a spell check. I don't know. But KK. Guys, you got to let me know who KK is. Is this like Cole Caulfield or something? Who's KK? It's kind of driving me nuts now because you guys literally, all these Habs fans keep saying KK. And I don't know who KK is. So I think we have some love overseas here. Evmat says in some kind of language, he says Kaprizov superstar. So that's pretty cool on my Kaprizov video. Guys, he has been unbelievably good. So I'm very excited to see him. On my video talking about Charlie McAvoy stepping into a leadership role, Scotty Shark. This is an interesting comment. Major lettuce there, mate. But okay. Don't you'd be blindfolded with dental floss. JK, mate, all the best. Okay. I'm gonna take that as a compliment. I don't know really what he's getting at. Okay. Samurai Jim talking about Josh Ho-Sang. The Islanders prospect pool is stacked at every position except for center. Move Ho-Sang to center in the AHL. I'm gonna pretend I didn't read that, Samurai Jim. First of all, he is overseas right now. And that it's just not going to happen. And the last comment, a little bit of a feed to the ego here. Zach Durgin, you are the man. I love this comment. I love getting comments like this, guys, because it motivates me that much more. And that you guys appreciate it. It's just amazing. Nice video. You presented this very well. Keep it up with the fire logo. So thank you, Zach Durgin. Thank you, everybody, for your comments today. I'll leave a little shout out right now to all of you guys who commented on this past week. If you want to have your question or feedback heard on next week's podcast, let me know in the comment section down below so I could recap that next week. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, more videos like this, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and to subscribe down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.